certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. We're here to talk about animated movies and of the 80s, and it's going to be we've got a fun panel. We've got Brian. Brian, how's it going?
It's pretty good. The 80s is not that strong of a decade as previous decades were for animation, but there's a few I've seen that I'll mention when that come up.
And Richie, how are you going?
Yeah, I'm going good. I just spotted Brian's little tag there. So, I was better before I read that, but I'm good. This should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of solid movies from the 80s that I forgot came out in the 80s. So, yeah, should be interesting.
And Jacob's here. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk some 80s animated. It's not a large selection, but I think what we do have is really strong. So I'm excited.
And Chris, how are you going?
Doing good. Just here to talk about 80 animated. There's a lot I like, some underseen, but here to talk about especially two studios that started in the 80s that actually made some good animation stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those ones. Like 80s is one of those decades where there wasn't a lot of big Disney movies. Like as you saw when we did 90s, like there's a lot of Disney ones that came up, but got a whole bunch of other ones in here. And I am allowing straight DVD movies and made for TV, and no hybrid movies. So you won't be seeing Roger Rabbit here at all. But if that Hell Show works, is we each take turns and nominate a movie we think belongs on the top 12 list. And then everyone else will say yes or no to it. If it gets the majority of the yeses, then it makes the list. Brian, I'm going to go to you first.
I'll go with the obvious one. We'll go with The Little Mermaid. The one that started the whole Disney Renaissance. Howard Ashman and Alan Menken did the music for it. Joey Benson, Pat Carroll, other voice cast for the film, and it's one of the most iconic films of the 80s. So I'll go with Little Mermaid.
Richie, what do you say about Little Mermaid?
Yeah, I forget this movie's in the 80s. It came down the tail end of the 80s, 89, I think. But I mean, it would be silly not to have this on the list. It's one of the most iconic Disney animation films ever. It's and it still holds up. I watched it recently, so yeah, absolutely yes.
Jacob, what do you say about Little Mermaid?
Oh, absolutely, 100% yes. This was a crucial movie for Disney. Like Brian said, it kicked off the Renaissance. The music is amazing. The voice cast is superb. I love the story. So easy yes.
And Chris, what do you say about The Little Mermaid?
Yes, I love The Little Mermaid. While not my personal favorite Disney movie from this decade, I do love The Little Mermaid a lot. Ursula is phenomenal Disney villain. Ariel is a good Disney princess. Eric is a little bit hit and miss. Like, he's not my personal Disney prince, but he is a good character. But I like the music, Sebastian, everything else. Yes. Little Mermaid. Yes.
Hashtag not my prince.
Little Mermaid is made a list. It was going to be an easy yes for me as well. I do enjoy The Little Mermaid, and with that, we go to Richie. Richie, what is the first movie you can bring up?
I don't watch a movie I didn't watch that long ago, and I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. But the animation has to do charming sometimes. And I think you brought. I know Jacob recently watched this. I'm gonna go to Brave Little Toaster. This movie is charming as hell. I just love the adventure. I think it's really well written, and I think it's a movie that doesn't get it kind of gets lost in when people talk about great animation movies. Brave Little Toaster is a banger. I love it. So Brave Little Toaster.
Jacob, what do you say about the Brave Little Toaster?
Oh man, I rewatched this and it was a lot of fun. I forget that John Lovitz is the voice of the radio, and so when I rewatched it, I like immediately like he's just got one of those recognizable voices too, like instantly recognize it. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. The adventure that they go on. But on my personal list, I have it right outside the top 12. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say no. But I wish I could say yes.
Chris, what do you say about the Brave Little Toaster?
Let's start the trend of pretty dark animated film from this decade on. This is a fantastic movie. It's cute, it's funny. I watched it a lot as a kid growing up in the 90s. I love this movie. It's the best out of all the other Brave Little Toasters, but a personal yes for me. It's a dog, charming, make you love your appliance and wish they come to life type movie.
But yeah, Brave Little Toaster was a childhood favorite of mine. This is one I watched a lot of times growing up. And it's free on YouTube there, which is weird because it's technically owned by Disney, but they've only put the sequels on Disney Plus, but not this one. But I mean, but it's one of those ones that had a really interesting sort of like background when it comes to the production. Apparently there's a whole lot of things about distribution. There was like just all over the place, and it's almost not going to be released. Because they're just trying to find it. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those ones that I think it was originally going to be a TV movie, then it got moved, premiered at a film festival or something. But it's just one of those interesting ones when it comes to the behind the scenes. But one of the big names that came up, you got Phil Hartman playing the conditioner, and you've got the voice of Tony the Tiger, I believe. Phil Ravenscroft is in this as well.
So you're being with Mr. Wedge.
But yeah, it's an easy yes for me for the Brave Little Toaster. Brian, what do you think about the Brave Little Toaster?
It's been a long time since I've seen this one. Even though it made the list, I'll give it a no.
Yeah. Also, when I was rewatching this, I was like, a lot of this plot elements seem really reminiscent of Toy Story. When you think about it really closely, it's like you can definitely see where Toy Story got the inspiration from. But Jacob, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
First one I want to bring up is My Neighbor Totoro. I think this movie is incredible, as is with all Studio Ghibli movies. The animation is just beautiful. The character designs of the Totoros are really cool. It's a movie about these two sisters who move. A movie about these two sisters who move with their dad to be closer to their hospitalized mother, and they find out that their neighbor is like a forest spirit. And yeah, it's just a fun little adventure. Very unique story, as is with most Studio Ghibli movies, which I'm pretty sure this won't be the only one that gets brought up tonight. At least I hope it's not. But the first one I'll bring up is My Neighbor Totoro. I think this movie is just top notch.
Chris, what do you think about My Neighbor Totoro?
On my list to watch, I've been watching a bunch of Studio Ghibli for this. I just didn't get around to it. I only got to the Studio Ghibli movie I didn't bring up here, but I heard nothing but good things. I want to see it, but I haven't seen it yet. I actually seen 3 out of 4 Studio Ghibli that came out this decade. When I realized.
I think My Neighbor Totoro is a really cute movie, and it's fell outside of my top 12, sadly, but I'm still going to give it a slight yes, because I kind of said to myself that if it's going to sort of be in that like top 15 on my personal list, I'm probably still going to say yes to it. I mean, there's a reason they picked the cat to be the face of Studio Ghibli.
Right.
And Brian, what do you say about My Neighbor Totoro?
I'll give a yes. I I saw this film a few years ago. I quite enjoyed it. I even remember Toy Story 3. We got Toro appearing in that one. So yeah.
And Richie, what do you say about My Neighbor Totoro?
Yeah, it's a really solid film here. I only watched it sort of semi recently, within the last 6 months. Yeah, it's really good. It's and I just love the look of it. I love obviously I love Ghibli's aesthetic, and yeah, it's really good. It's great story, great sort of great commentary on like the power of imagination and sort of overcoming grief, especially if you're a young kid and going through all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a really solid, heartwarming film. So I would say yes.
And I think My Neighbor Totoro does make this list. Chris, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
I did bring up the other Studio Ghibli movie. The one I watched yesterday. They say the other one for later. It is the most depressing animated movie from this decade. It is a movie that I was sorry by the end of it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's one of the greatest war movies I ever seen. A Grave of the Firefly. I think this is a film that perfectly encapsulates the casualty of what happened during war, especially in a small town. And take place in Japan, you see the town with bomb shelters. You see the brother and sister trying to survive the war going on. The father is in the war and on a naval ship. The mom just died. Spoiler alert. It's a movie that I was emotionally invested in more than I expected to. It hit depressing. It gives you a glimmer of hope here and then. Like, them building the little shelter in the cave, destroying everything, small glimmer of hope. But to start with the sister and, her being sick, and then you get to the devastating ending. It hit all of quarter. I think it, right now, my personal favorite, I think it's Studio Ghibli for the stuff I've seen so far. I think it's beautiful. I think it's funny. I think watching it in Japanese really worked for me. I watched the way it was meant to watch. Yeah, Grave of the Firefly.
Yeah, this is one of the few Ghibli movies that's not on Netflix for me. Like there's, I think it was either last year or the year before. When they threw all the Ghibli movies on HBO Max, they put them on Netflix for international. And this was just one of the ones that just didn't make it on yet. So I had to sort of watch it in other means. And unfortunately, all I found was the Japanese version. It just didn't work for me because they had no bloody subtitles on the version I watched, so I had no idea what they were saying. So I'm just going to give this a slight no. Brian, what do you say about Grave of the Fire?
Well, that's not an excuse, Malcolm. There's an app called Duolingo. Just learn up in Japanese. Okay.
I luckily watch it with subtitles for my end.
Yeah, for me, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say anything about it.
Richie, what do you say about Grave of the Fireflies?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, it's not something like if you're talking about I think it's a movie that is really hard to watch like more than once. It's really it's very dreary, very depressing. It's not something like maybe you'd put like kids down to watch, but it is really a solid film. It's one of their better ones. So, yeah, I would have. I'll say yes.
And Jacob, what do you say about Grave of the Fireflies?
No, this is another yes for me. I might go as far as to say like I know this came out first, but like this is like the Schindler's List of the animated world. Like it's a hard movie to watch. You probably don't want to watch it more than once, but you recognize just how good it is.
Yeah.
Like not only from like a filmmaking standpoint, like an animated filmmaking standpoint, but from like the voice cast is incredible. The story is incredible. Like everything about this movie, like it's just one of the best animated movies. Period. Not just of the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, period. So it'll get a yes for me.
Yeah. The only film that ever made me feel depressed for animation in a long time.
But anyway, the first one I'm going to bring up. I'm going to go swing of the fences first. I'm going to bring up one that I watched for the first time.
Wait, did Grave of the Firefly make the list? And three of us said yes.
I haven't.
Yeah, it made the list. I just haven't hit enter in the private chat. There it is.
Yeah.
It's on.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just like,
But anyway, for my first one, I'm going to go for a anime movie I watched for the first time last year when I had to write a Formula Random match on a certain franchise, and that is the Chipmunk Adventure, the best Alvin and the Chipmunks movie that exists. Um, they had, which isn't saying much to be honest,
yep.
but yeah, the Chipmunk Adventure was a lot of fun. Like, you got Alvin and the Chipmunks. They're going on this hot air balloon ride to try and get drugs and I think it's dimes actually. But that you've got Nancy Cartwright appears in this at some stage, and it's just one of those fun ones that if you haven't seen it. I think you should get seen it. It's the 80s was where the Alvin and the Chipmunks thrived, and this is the best of them. But Brian, what do you say about the Chipmunk Adventure?
I'll give it a slight no. Not that big fan of the film. So, and I rewatched it recently. Still wasn't a big fan. So no.
Richie, what do you say about the Chipmunk Adventure?
I mean, I watched this as a kid. I'm pretty sure. I honestly, just because mean, it was one of those. I think Alvin and the Chipmunks was one of those things that, like, because when you're a kid or that young, like the sort of interests, parents just like throw things out there to say, oh, you might be interested in this. You might this type of thing. So I remember, like, there was a phase where there was watching a lot of Chipmunk stuff. I had like a Chipmunks like cassette, or and like an album and stuff. I don't remember much of this movie though. And I don't have enough. That's not one I go back to. So I don't remember it enough to kind of give it a yes. So I'm gonna go no.
But Jacob, have you seen the Chipmunk Adventure?
Maybe, but I can't remember if I have or not. So I'll abstain from this one.
Chris, out of everyone here, you're probably the most recent one to see if you've seen it.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Chipmunk Adventure?
I love this movie. I do not like any other Alvin Chipmunk that not direct to video, but I do love this movie. But it's funny. It's great. The music is really freaking good. The song between the Chipmunk and the Chipmunk on the temple and one like catchiest song in the film, and the song with to the penguin. I forget who's singing to the penguin. Really good. I love this movie. It's creepy. I mean, the whole movie about them accidentally smuggling diamond and dolls and not knowing it. Like, just think about the implication there and the whole kidnapping thing at the end. But it's fun. Is it a little corny yet? Is it a little bit irritating yet? But it's a fun movie. It would have got yes for me. I would have got you back here, Malcolm.
Somebody out there, Will Cohen, is shouting yes as well. But Brian, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'll bring up a childhood favorite of mine. I'll go. All Dogs Go to Heaven. I watched this a lot of children. A bit dark for some moments, and a bit sad about knowing the child actress who played the kid in the film passed away. But it's a good film. Good nostalgia for me, and some good voice cast. You got Burt Reynolds in there, John Delarese, and it's my personal favorite Don Bluth film. So I'll go with All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Richie, what do you say about All Dogs Go to Heaven?
I feel like like this when I watched, I don't know, because it was, again, it's a dark thing. It was like probably watched this before I should have, because it was just I like dogs more than human beings, and most of the time, and so. And when I watched this when I was a kid, it's just like, oh man, it broke me, but I did enjoy it. Not my favorite Don Bluth movie. I might bring one up soon. But yeah, it is pretty solid. It's probably just outside my 12 that I made, but so I'll give it a slight yes.
Jacob, what do you say about All Dogs Go to Heaven?
Yeah, this is why I mentioned at the beginning that this was not a lot of choices, but some very strong choices, because I do think this is a really good animated movie. I think, yeah, the voice cast is good. The story, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, there are some there are some adult moments. So very, very, very good movie. Kid, adult. I mean, who doesn't like what kid doesn't like dogs? As somebody that works in the child care center, I can tell you, no kid doesn't like a dog.
And if you're a kid that doesn't like dogs, I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Get out the door. You don't like
If you're a kid that doesn't like a dog, it's because the dog is attacking you. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
But man, again, this is one that is just outside my 12. It's actually my number 13, and so just going by my list. I wish I could do the Malcolm rule, where if it's in my 15, I'll give it a yes. But I want to stick to my list, so I'm gonna give it a slight no. But if it makes the list, I'm not gonna be upset.
Chris, what do you say about All Dogs Go to Heaven?
This is the second darkest freaking animated movie pre-tag rated Firefly. I mean, how to do a movie where the dog get literally drunk, almost run over, end up in heaven, then drown again.
I just call that Saturday night.
Yeah. The whole gambling thing, but it's a fun movie. Let make music together, or we get stuck in my head from the movie.
There's a bad moment.
Yeah. Carface is a great villain. Charlie is unlikable a little bit, but he does redeem himself to the end. He is great. I love the movie. It's a personal favorite of mine doing a video as a kid. So yes, for me, for one of the most darkest, deep as shit kid movie from this decade.
I mean, let's be honest. A lot of the 80s animated movies are really dark, as I found out when I was actually watching or rewatching some of these, as the case may be. But yeah, All Dogs Go to Heaven is going to be a slight yes for me because it is my number 12. It's one that, as a kid, I probably watched a lot more. When this was one of those ones that I watched on Amazon Prime today because I thought I hadn't seen it before, but I realized I did watch this as a kid. But yeah, it's going to be a yes for me. And yeah, so All Dogs Go to Heaven does make this list, and we go back to Richie.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there's it's just doing my little research as well. Like a lot of 80s animated films operate in, a lot of Pixar movies these days operate in dark territory, but they have nothing on 80s animated movies, especially Don Bluth. And I'm going to go another dark movie, which is very good, Don Bluth movie, and that is 1982's Secret of Nim. I think this movie is great. It's very dark, but it's got a lot of heart to it. The voice, the voice work is great. It's sort of back also when you didn't really have marquee stars doing the voice or anything. There are people who pop up here and there. Tom DeLuise is also in this movie. But yeah, no, it's really really solid movie, and I'd recommend people watching it. But yeah, so Secret of Nim.
Jacob, what do you say about the Secret of Nim?
I was very late to the Secret of Nim. I actually watched it for the first time last year, which is weird because I don't know how long it had been sitting on my shelf, which is kind of terrible because this movie was really good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's dark. I'm pretty sure that's going to be repeated quite a bit tonight. Yeah, no, it's a really good family movie, but it deals with some mature themes. The mom trying to move her family to escape disaster. It's because it's plowing season. Take that how you want. You can clip that if you want, Malcolm. Use that.
It's plowing season.
This is one that I wanted to rewatch before today, but time just got away from me because I watched some for the first time, rewatched some that I hadn't seen in a long time. So I'm kind of disappointed that it's not fresher in my mind, but I'll give it a yes because it is in my top 12.
Chris, what do you say about Secret of Nim?
This is a great one-off movie. Too bad they never made a sequel to it. That hint, hint. But I love this movie. I love the character. I love the animation. It's a really dark movie, especially when it gets to her trying to save her kid. Everything. The villain is dark. I think a great movie. Even though I think it was really damaged by the direct video that nobody should ever watch. That movie should never exist in the history of it. Yeah, fuck you, Timothy. I would say. you know, we, no, we don't care about your mom. We care about Timothy. Like, not a story for another day, but yeah.
You're making me want to watch it because I get intrigued by Ben when people
It's so
describe it.
bad. Let's just say it made Timothy an asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this film. This is my personal favorite John Bluth movie, along with another one, two more that might be up. So yes, for me.
Yeah, I actually watched Secret of Nim for the first time for this. I didn't enjoy it as much as everyone else clearly did, but I think it's probably maybe if this is one that I watched as a kid, maybe it would have had a little bit more sort of nostalgic thing to me. But I mean, I'm not trying. It's a good movie. But unfortunately, just falls slightly outside my 15 range. And it's one of those ones. If you don't, if you watch this and don't get how dark it is, does anyone know what the initials NIM stands for?
Not in my house.
I mean, but it actually stands for the National Institute of Mental Health. So
Yep.
I mean, so but,
Let's take a
Not in
little
my
bit.
head.
Let's take a little bit more in the sequel, and that might a little bit bad.
yeah. Also, I just love the fact that Chris started off by saying, "Oh, there was no sequel." Then proceeds to mention the sequel later on. Brian, what did you say about the sequel?
Yeah, this is one of my blind spots for Don Bluth, so I'll stay on this one.
But with that, it does make the list anyway. And Jacob, we go back to you.
Oh boy, we're about halfway through already. No, we are halfway through. That's not about. We are exactly halfway through. I'm going to go with Kiki's Delivery Service. I think this is another incredible, stunningly animated Studio Ghibli movie about this 13-year-old. Yes, her name is Kiki. Who it's time for her to go out on her own. She's a witch, so she moves to this town, and she starts this delivery service once she's able to can finally control her broom. She's got to learn how to fly. So she sets up this delivery service and is trying to be a part of this community, and it's another really really fun story from Miyazaki, who I think is one of the best animated directors to ever do it. So yeah, it's another one that I think is just one of the best animated movies, period, not just of the 80s. So yeah. I'll go with Kiki's Delivery Service.
But yeah, Chris, what do you say about Kiki's Delivery Service?
Fun fact: I started to watch this yesterday. I was watching Grade of Firefly, and then I realized I'd seen this movie as a kid. I realized it when Sonny said 10 minutes of it. I like this movie a lot. Like, I've been a while since I've seen it. I just thought because I've seen it already, I started another one just because I haven't seen. But I do like it a lot. It's cute, it's funny, and not the best Studio Ghibli movie. I prefer some of his other stuff that I've seen over there. Especially I prefer Spirited Away a lot more. But I will give us yes, because it's cute, it's funny, it's definitely one of the more cuter, more touching animated film for this decade.
Yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service is easily a yes for me. It's such an incredible after design. When it comes to Ghibli, I'd seen a handful of them before they all dropped on Netflix. But then once they all dropped, I just binged a lot of them. And this is probably in my top 10 Ghibli movies. I have to go to back to my Ghibli ranking just to see. But yeah, this is really good. And it's one of those weird Ghibli movies that has two different English dubs. Like you've
Mm-hmm.
got the one that came out when it was released in the States in the 90s, which doesn't have a lot of doesn't have any recognizable stars. But yet in the newer English dub, you got Kirsten Dunst as Kiki,
Yep.
Paul Hartman as Gigi, Janine Garofalo's in it, and, and some other people you probably recognise from The Simpsons. But
I think
but yeah, it's an easy yes for me. Brian, what do you say about Kiki's delivery service?
I'll give it a yes. I quite enjoy this for a lot. Even we back and we watch to see how it holds up. It holds up pretty well, so I'll give it a yes.
And Richie, what do you say about Kiki's delivery service?
I have to admit that this was a blind spot for me, so I have to abstain.
Highly recommend it, Richie.
yeah, really good.
But it's
Great animation.
but Kiki and your delivery service is making this list. Chris, what is your next nomination?
So I don't bring it back to Disney. I don't bring up my personal favorite from this decade. I think it is a great take of Sherlock Holmes. I think it had probably one of my top 10 favorite Disney villains. And from Radigan, I go with the Great Mouse Detective. I think it's a fun, entertaining, one of the best Disney villains on with Radigan. Right.
Radigan.
I think it has some of the best action in any Disney movie. The fight on top of Big Ben is in top 5 like action sequence in any Disney animated film. I think Battle is a great character. I think his psychic is great. I think the girl is great. I think there are funny moments, there are sweet moments, there are sort of dull humor in it. The whole bar sequences with the dancers and everything really like something for Disney. But yeah, I think the three Disney movie I would bring up for this one of them. Maybe we get the other one, but Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Great Mouse Detective is fine. It's when it comes to Disney movies, it's definitely not top 12 animated movies of the 80s for me. I don't. It's not even top 12 Disney animated movies for me. So it's going to be a no for me. Brian, what do you say about Great Mouse Detective?
Yeah, for me, Great Mouse Detective is not my favorite Disney film of the 80s. It's probably like my third favorite of the decade. And even though I quite enjoy Vincent Price as Radigan, he's good, but the rest of the film not that strong, so I'm gonna no.
Richie, what do you say about the Great Mouse Detective?
Yeah, I like it. It's probably sort of just outside my top 12. It's a decent movie though. But yeah, I'm just going to go slight no.
And Jacob, what do you say about the Great Mouse Detective?
I really enjoy this. I think it is my it's my second favorite behind The Little Mermaid for the decade. And you know had two of the movies that were not outside my top 12 gone in, I would have given this a yes because this does hover in that 10 to 12 range for the decade for me. But I would have at this point given it a slight no just because there's other movies I want to see make the list.
Unfortunately, Great Mouse Detective doesn't make this list. Just trying to sorry, I should go for.
And one more Disney on my list, and the other two that I don't like get brought up. Then we
Yeah, so I'm gonna go for this one because a little bit why this one hasn't come up yet, but I'm bringing up An American Tail.
Yes.
This is one of my childhood favorites growing up, and this is one that I probably multiple times did a double feature of this and Brave Little Toast. But but it's just one of those ones that just the story of Bible trying to find his way back to his family in America is just incredible, and it's definitely one that I could see myself watching again and showing like any kids I may have growing up as well. But yeah, Brian, what you say about An American Tale?
I'm giving it a yes. I quite enjoyed this for a lot. I saw this first time like a couple years ago, and I quite enjoyed this a lot. Even the whole scene is somewhere out there. It gets me emotional a lot of times. So I'll give it a yes.
And Richie, what do you say about An American Tale?
Yeah. I was gonna bring this up eventually. Yeah, it's just a really fun movie, and the one I watched a lot when I was a kid. So yeah, it's sort of like it's in the middle of my top 12. So yeah, I'd say it.
Jacob, what do you say about An American Tale?
I would have given it a slight no, but that's not to say that I don't like the movie. I do. I actually rewatched it earlier this week, and yeah, the music is really cool. The adventure that Fievel has to go on to reunite with his family is really engaging. But again, this is the way the list has fallen so far, and the way my personal list is going. This is like on the tail end of it, and so I'm not upset that it's making the list because it's already gotten 3 yeses, but I just personally would have given it a slight no.
And Chris, you probably gave it away when you screamed when it came up. But what do you say about American Tale?
I love this movie. We used to watch it a lot in middle school and elementary school because we talked about American immigration. This is a great feel good. The music is good. Rival is a great character. So I think the sequel had a better villain yet, but I think this is just like great character. We feel a heartwarming story that made you want to say yes at the end when they finally reunite. That beautiful moment. Yes, for me, this is one of my childhood movies.
But An American Tale does make this list. Brian, we go back to you.
I'll go back to Disney, and I'll bring up my personal favorite days, Oliver and Company. This is a great retelling of Oliver Twist. Quite enjoyed the cast. You got Billy Joel, Ben Midler, Joy Lawrence, Cheech Marin, and these characters. Why Should I Worry is one of my favorite songs. This is one of my personal favorites. We watched it as a child, and we watch it now. So Oliver and Company.
Richie, what do you say about Oliver and Company?
Yeah, I watched it. It's all right. I don't know. It's got like a couple of things going for it. Like Billy Joel or whatever. I don't know. It's not a movie that grabbed me when I was a kid, and yeah, I haven't gone back to it as an adult, so I'm gonna say no.
Jacob, what do you say about Oliver and Company?
Yeah, this is a no for me. Outside of that song that Brian mentioned, "Why Should I Worry?" There's really not much about this movie that has me going back to it. So, I mentioned that I work in the daycare. I play that song for the kids, and they love it. But other than that, like the movie's just not that memorable for me. So I'm gonna give it a no.
Chris, what do you say about Oliver and Company?
This is not the Disney movie I originally mentioned. That still is left to bring up. I think it's a fine movie. I think the music is good. I think the voice acting is goodish. I think some of the characters are a little bit annoying at times. I think the villain is really weak compared to all of the Disney villain we got from the decade. Especially for even better one that had much better villain. But it's fine. I think there's some decent death. I think the opening is emotional. You own a cat. I think Oliver not being picked is a little bit emotional. I think Dodger is a great character. A no for me. They're one better Disney movie. I think that calculate animals and it's better than this.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't even my favorite version of Oliver Twist. Like, like Oliver and Company's fine. It's going to be a no for me as well. And yeah, but Richie, we go back to you. What is your next nomination?
Again, Don Bluth again. I guess another movie to bring up that's pretty well known. It spawned like 10 sequels. I'm gonna go Land Before Time.
13 actually.
13. Well,
13.
I just shot that.
And my girlfriend owned a DVD at home. It's 13 movies in that.
13. Jesus, all right. I don't know if I'll explore that cinematic universe, but I've watched a couple of them, and the first one's really good. It's a great, charming sort of film. I haven't gone back to it in a while, but yeah, it's a really solid, I think, sort of very. I think if we're doing a top anime of the 80s, we've got to, you have to bring up one that's sort of was very successful, obviously, and just it's a solid like heartwarming film. I think you say heartwarming about all these films, but yeah, there's I enjoy it. I enjoy it, and it definitely pulls at the heartstrings. So yeah, I'll go Land Before Time.
Jacob, what do you say about Land Before Time?
Yep, this is in my top 5 actually for the decade. I really enjoy this movie. This is another childhood favorite of mine. The second best dinosaur movie that Steven Spielberg is attached to. There's some emotional moment. There's some humor. The 5 friends. I really like them all together. The tension is there even for an animated movie. As a kid, I was like, no, get away from them, sharp tooth. And now as an adult, I'm still, getting emotional when spoiler alert, Littlefoot's mom, dies. I'd put that up there with Mufasa, dying. It's, they're right there. As far as hitting me on an emotional level, it's a quick like 62 minutes. They really stretch it out with the credits, I think. But it's an easy yes for me.
I have to believe the most recent one was 2016. but
That's
what do you say about Land Before Time?
I love the Land Before Time. This is a film that, continuing the dog trend of Disney animated movie, this is a film that is dog. It had one of the most scariest things for an animated film from that decade with Stop Tooth. Like, as a kid, that's scary, but also featured a voice Ducky, who also the voice of the girl in All Dogs in Heaven, when last role. Does hit a little bit hard. It's a cute movie. The no annoying song is very much story that gets emotionally. The mom dying. That moment with the mom is really emotional as heck. I cry every time we watch it. And Danny lift you up. I mean, they're just great characters, who didn't need a bunch of sequels, where some of them were good and some of them were really bad. But I just love the original. So yes for me.
Yeah, I think I've seen The Land Before Time once before. This is one of those ones I don't. I was going to sort of watch it and preparation for this. I just ran out of time to do so. But I'm still going to give this a slight yes anyway. But Brian, what do you say about Land Before Time?
I'll give it a yes. I remember watching this as a kid. Got emotional sometimes. It's a dark elements with sharp tooth. It's a good, easy watch. And Jacob said, like 62 minutes. Good, easy come, easy go film.
But Jacob, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
We'll see how this one goes. We don't have any R-rated animated movies on here, and I realize I'm just bringing up Japanese animation, but I guess the 80s was a good decade for Japanese animation. I'm gonna go with Akira. This movie, I just watched this for the first time yesterday. I've watched like 6 movies in the last 2 days. I can't remember. I can't keep track. But this movie, like I've heard about this movie so much, and I finally see why it's as highly rated as it is. On Letterboxd, it's sitting at a 4.2, which is incredible. It's a brutal movie. It's bloody. The story is really unique once again, as is the case with most Japanese animation. I feel, it's about this biker gang. They from this opening chase scene, like you're hooked. And it's about one of the members of the gang is taken by the military, and he starts to develop these powers. And I'm trying to be vague because I don't know like how many people have seen it, because I was very late to it. I don't want to like go into too much, but Like it is an incredible movie. The animation once again is stunning. It's 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like 2 hours. It just flies by. You really get invested in this character of Tetsuo Oshima. Like the movie's called Akira, but like it's just watch it and find out. If it gets a like doesn't make the list, I will understand because just I feel like it might be underseen. But I also wanted to shout it out because it like I was blown away yesterday when I watched it.
Chris, what do you say about Akira?
I have not seen it. I know it's been added to like some of the geek leagues on my list to watch. But another geek film, but you got me convinced. I do want to watch it. Just like there's so many geek movies I have to get to watching right now. But on opening night trivia list geek list, I will watch it.
Yeah, I also haven't got around to this. I know Jay Boone specifically is going to be screaming if this doesn't make the list because he's just never shut up about it. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't give it yes. Now, I think, if I remember rightly, I think there's supposed to be a live action film where Taika is
Taika
attached to.
Waititi projecting in this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Cool.
But apparently,
I do hope he doesn't. I mean, I like Taika Waititi's comic sensibilities, but this movie doesn't need them.
No.
But apparently, Akira is what about like the live action film was originally scheduled for release in 2021, and was planned to start in 2019, but it was put on an indefinite hold just prior to filming as Taika had chosen to do first direct for Love and Thunder first. But
He's got so many like films in the pipeline. Like there's like that the Tower of London, the Tower of Terror sort of movie. I think it's like I don't know if he'll ever get around to it. I don't even know if he's the right director for it. So maybe just point it to someone else.
But anyway, I do plan. I'm probably going to watch Akira for next week because it is based on a manga, so it could come up next week. Brian, what do you say about Akira?
I haven't seen it either, so I'll abstain.
And Richie, have you seen Akira?
I'll be the one person. I would have. This would have been my next pick, and this movie also. But yeah, anyway, it's great.
But Chris, what is your next nomination?
So shoot for my shot here. Well, Brian might bring up the one I think I bring up. I don't bring up the other Disney movie I was making reference to, The Have Animal. I think it's a great friendship movie. I think it
I know which one.
Have one of the best songs that get stuck in your head a lot of time. I think the villain is really good. I think it gets depressing when have one of the most depressing things in Disney movie. I bring out The Fox and the Hound.
Yes.
I think it is a beautiful movie. I think when you're the best of friend and one of the most catchy Disney songs, and it's so emotional. So if anybody has friendship like that, I have plenty of best friends who I have a similar friendship. That doesn't end up with trying to kill each other like the movie does. But the thing with Todd getting left in the woods because his owner realized that he in danger and she just leave him. One of the most emotionally devastating moments in the movie. I think Copper is great. I see Todd is great. I see the villain is great. I see the action is really good. I think it really does the Darknet well with like humor well. Like I think Ben Mama is a great character. I think the two birds are really good. So yeah, I'm going to bring up The Fox and the Hound. This is my early top 3 Disney movies for this decade.
Yeah. I like The Fox and the Hound. I do think it's good. It's going to be a slight yes to me. It does fall into my top 15. And yeah. Brian, what do you say about The Fox and the Hound?
I'm going to give it a yes as well. It's quite emotional for me. Good film watching growing up. It has good voice cast. You get Mickey Rooney, Kurt Russell, Pearl Bailey, Grandpa Joe himself, Jack Albertson, Cy Duncan, Pat Butcher, John Fiedler, Paul Winchell. This goes on. I'm going to go give it a yes.
Richie, what do you say about the Fox and the Hound?
Yeah, I do like it, but and going off like what we haven't brought up, there's sort of like we're sort of running short here, and the movie's good, so yeah, like there's only like one or two movies I probably want to bring up more. Like, I don't know, like, and I'm not confident they'll get through, so I'll say yes for Fox and the Hound.
And Jacob, what do you say about the Fox and the Hound?
Yeah, it was nice to see that Grandpa Joe didn't go back to bed for another 30 years, but I would have given it a slight no. Actually, I enjoy the movie. I think it is a really good movie about friendship, but it's not one that I go back to very often, and yeah, I just would have given it a no.
But we say the Fox and the Hound does make this list. And going to go to me. Looking at this list, we've got a lot of Japanese animated movies, got a lot of
Yes, we
genres.
do.
We don't have any from this, and the one I'm going to bring up. I was tossing up which one I want to bring up. I'm going to bring up the Looney Tune movie Daffy Duck in Fantastic Island.
Yes.
Well, yes, it is basically a confirmation thing of shorts that were made a lot before. It does have a bridging storyline of a Daffy Duck running this fantastic island, which is a take on Fantasy Island where they do all these wishes and that. And the way they do it is a lot of fun. Like you start off with and Bugs and Daffy having this big sea battle, and then Sam losing his treasure map and Daffy Duck finding it and then finding this wishing realm. Glass wishing. It's just a lot of fun, and I think we did like Looney Tunes have made a lot of good movies like um in the same vein, and there's quite a few that I could have chosen for this. This is the one I'm going to go for. This is the one I probably watched the most as a kid, and yeah. So, Brian, what do you say about Daffy Duck and Fantastic Island?
I'm going to give it a yes. It's on my list. I remember watching a bunch of times as a kid when I was on TV. A good story concept with the whole wishing well, showing the characters a cartoon of what they were in, and it's a good concept. So yes for me.
Richie, what do you say about Daffy Duck and Fantastic Island?
I like it. I grew up on Looney Tunes, and I was introduced to this movie from my parents. It's a good movie. It's an honorable mentions, but we've only got a certain number of slots left, and there's two other movies I at least want to shoot my shot for that I think they should be on there. So I'm gonna say no, but yeah, it's all right. It's fine.
Jacob, what do you say about Daffy Duck and Fantastic Island?
Yeah, I love the Looney Tunes, but I can't remember if I'd seen this or not. So, you know what, I might have, and we do have some Disney representation. We've got Don Bluth, we've got the Japanese animation. Why not get some Looney Tune representation on there? I'll say yes.
And but Chris, what do you say about Daffy Duck and Fantastic Island?
Does this get in or does it follow me?
It gets in.
This would have been my pick. I would just look at the list myself. The two I like a little bit more than this. Like, especially one with the award ceremony and then one with the Arabian Night stuff. Yeah, I would have said Plate now. The two I like slightly better.
But yeah, and with that, we've got one spot left, and it goes to Brian.
Looking at this, I'll bring up Yogi's First Christmas. It's a quiz film where you see all his friends like get all the crossover Huckleberry Hound, Snagglepuss. You get Augie Doggy all coming together to celebrate Christmas with Yogi and him having his first Christmas. It was one of my childhood classics watching, and I'll shoot my shot for that one.
Richie, what do you say about Yogi's First Christmas?
Have not seen it, so kind of stuff.
Jacob, what do you say about Yogi's First Christmas?
Don't think I've seen it.
Chris, what do you say about Yogi's First Christmas?
I kind of regretting now not bringing up the other ones because that was Ryan would bring up. I think I've seen it. I've watched a lot of them growing up as a kid, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I also watched a lot of these Hanna-Barbera ones as a kid, but I have not seen this. But
Let's
Richie,
try myself for that one.
what is your next? What is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Torn between two. One, I know more people have definitely probably seen, but the other, I'll just bring this up. I'm shooting my shot. We've got a lot of like family animation here, as well as dark ones. Don't really have an adult animation one, so I'm going to bring up the kind of a underrated anthology film, Heavy Metal. Okay, I love this. I especially love Harry Canyon, which is it's a sort of a film noir kind of thing. It's just a you don't see a lot of like anthology films these days, and especially in animation. I think it's real. All the stories here are really solid, and you got a great voice cast here. John Candy's in it, Eugene Levy, Harold Ramis. So yeah, I think it's a really solid film. But again, I'm probably I don't know how many people have seen it. But I thought I'd shoot my shot anyway. So Heavy Metal.
Jacob, what do you say about Heavy Metal?
Richie, how dare you bring up Heavy Metal and not mention the soundtrack?
Oh yeah, the sound.
movie.
I thought that was just being given.
The music in this movie is incredible. The choices they make, you got Black Sabbath, Journey, Cheap Trick. Like it's got like just a plethora of great music from the bands from the 70s and 80s. I watched this yesterday for the first time. It's another one that I've owned and has been on my shelf for way too long, unopened. And at first, I was like, when I was done watching it, I was like, that felt kind of all over the place. Like it, but I went into it really blind. The more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I guess it kind of was an anthology with like this green orb kind of connecting all the stories. And the more I thought about it, like I had a lot of fun with this. I think like each different segment was a lot of fun, and while for me it doesn't really connect the way I would like it to, overall I think each segment, like I said, is a lot of fun. It's very adult. The music is awesome, and yeah, if we're gonna have an adult animated film on the list, I think this is a really good choice. So I'll give it a yes.
Chris, what do you say about Heavy Metal?
I never seen it, and I've been one of those that I had very little desire to watch, but maybe I get around to eventually because I've been brought up so many times in the past.
Yeah, no, I saw this on the list. It's like no one's going to bring it up. I'm not going to. So yeah, Brian, what do you say about Heavy Metal?
The only thing I see the Heavy Metal was this whole South Park episode where they parodied this, and I haven't seen the film of this, so no.
Jab it.
Man.
But unfortunately, Heavy Metal doesn't make this list. Jacob, we go back to you.
Oh, that would have been a fun addition to the list, but I will go with one that is based off of a television show as well. I will go with the Transformers the movie. I think I rewatched this. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't remember watching the series as much as a kid, so like I don't have that connection to it. But I still think this one was really good. I think the voice cast is really cool. It's Orson Welles in one of his final roles. I think he has like 2 other movies released after this. Yeah, but you got Frank Welker in there, Peter Cullen, Casey Kasem, Leonard Nimoy does a voice. There's lots of good, actors in here lending their voices, and yeah, I think it's the best Transformers movie that we have. Because most of the live action ones have not been great. I do think Transformers and Bumblebee are good, but I mean, this one, the emotions there again. The 80's seems to be dark and emotional for whatever reason, and this one's right there with it. So I will try for the Transformers of the movie.
Chris, what do you say about Transformers the movie?
I had a chance to maybe watch it today. I chose to watch something else that's been brought up to me to watch a bunch of time. Transformers burned the bridges for me way too many times in the past with some of the movie. With Death of Bumblebee and 2007 Transformer a little bit. But I will get around watching it because I had to watch it for Geek, but I haven't seen it yet.
And I feel like you can't count the later Transformers movies in critiquing this one. It came out earlier, and yeah, it doesn't.
I know, but when you see so many bad Transformer movies that not Bumblebee or the 2007 one, it really
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is one I knew I was going to have to watch for this because this is unlike Heavy Metal. I knew this one was going to come up at some stage. And yeah, I mean, I also didn't grow up watching the Transformers as a kid, but this movie was a lot of fun. As of now, I don't know where this falls on my Transformers ranking. I'd have to go back to that list on Letterboxd to find out where I'd place it. But I'm still going to say yes to it. It does fall into my top 15. Brian, what do you say about Transformers, the movie?
I'm going to give it a no. I have a different film based on a TV show on my list that I won't bring up because it goes back to me.
Which means it falls on Richie. What do you say about Transformers, the movie?
Last
Well,
part, Richie.
well, Brian, you can bring it up in your honorable mentions because I'm going to say yes. Yeah, because I totally forgot. I'm like, oh yeah, I came into it knowing I was going to bring this up, but I forgot anyway. So I'm glad they did it last second. Yeah, this movie's great, and it's a really, really, really solid Transformers movie. So yeah, I'm going to say.
And let's face it, there would have been a riot in the comments if this didn't make the list.
Yeah.
I would have.
I think there might be a riot in the comment for the Ghibli movie we did bring up. So,
I think we've got the right one. Yeah.
We got the right balance.
Yeah.
But,
then one-
anyway, Chris, what is some of your honorable mentions?
So I got two. The one I was hoping Brian would bring up, but he didn't, is Cats in the Sky, which is my second favorite series Ghibli movie I watched for this list. It is you can see where the inspiration for Final Fantasy VI came from, because it had a plot similar to Final Fantasy VI a little bit. But I see the animation is good, I see it hysterical, the fighting scene in the town is freaking funny as hell, with the muscle and everything. It's just a cute movie, good villain, good story, like cute friendship, romance, like. And then the other one, because I grew up on it, and I love this film. Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, and Don't Come Back. It's a really good peanut movie that falls from this decade. It's 75 minutes. It's funny. The Wimbledon stuff is funny. The plot with the chateau is really good. It has heartwarming thing to Charlie Brown's father. Everything. Do check out. You haven't seen it.
But yeah, for me, something I want to mention that I had Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, which I watched for this. It was just a lot of fun. Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind. I was going to bring up. I think it's a Ghibli movie. It's either Ghibli movie or Ghibli adjacent. Daffy Duck's Crackbusters is another one I was going to bring up. And one that was actually really low on my list, but sadly, the animated BFG, I was considering bringing up as well, but it's just one of those ones that I had a few others in my top part of this that I think were more deserving, and I just haven't seen the BFG since the first time I'd seen it, so I just didn't remember enough about it to bring it up. But Brian, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, I also had Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown. I also had Daffy Duck's Crapbusters. Even though it didn't count for this list, I put my list, Mickey's Christmas Carol, even though it didn't count for it. So this does me to Jetsons, Louie Bug Bunny Movie, A Thousand Rabbit Tails, and Scooby Doo and Reluctant Werewolf.
Yeah.
But Richie, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Pretty much all mentioned it. Like, yeah, Bug Bunny and 1001 Rabbit Tails. Yeah, Black Cauldron. I like. I know it's on. I like Black Cauldron.
Not my favorite.
Yeah. I would never said yet.
And yeah, it's pretty much, you know what? But it's I watched it in childhood. It's not bad. The Care Bears movie. Wow.
Oh.
Further on with that more.
Not gonna lie, I did watch the Care Bears movie before this.
Yeah.
Jacob, what some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, I also had Nausicaa. It's the studio, according to Letterboxd, is Topcraft, but it was a Miyazaki movie. And then yeah, I also had Castle in the Sky. I had also Little Nemo, and then The Last Unicorn would be my last honorable mention.
Yeah, and some that I mentioned in the chat, Black Cauldron, which has already been mentioned, Last Unicorn, which was mentioned, and something called American Pop, which came
Never
up
heard of
on
it.
Never
I mean-
heard of that one.
I mean, it came up on the long list when I was making my because on my letterbox list, I made a list of about 300 plus that came out in the 80s. So but a lot of them are ones that I've just either never heard of, like American Pop, or just but
Also,
But-
I should mention the Japanese Aladdin movie, Aladdin and the Two Lamps. I think it's called. It's pretty.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's decent.
If we bring up short finds that mention, I also bring up Winnie the Pooh and the something for Ego.
Yeah, it's one of those ones like for this one, I made the decision that I will go for the definition of feature film, which is any movies 40 minutes or less, according to SAG, I believe. 40 minutes or more, but
I was going to say less. I mean, man,
Well, then we have to do this whole list over again.
Simpsons have made a lot of movies.
Also, the Transformers movie list on
it's one of those ones like if we're doing shorts, like there's at least 4 Pixar shorts at the 80s that would have made this list.
Ooh, that could be its own list right there, Malcolm. Pixar shorts.
I agree with that.
Yeah, even like short or animated short overall.
But yeah, just very quickly, I thought I had to look this up. American Pop is another adult animated musical drama movie. It's done by Ralph Bakshi, who surprisingly didn't make this list.
Yeah.
But
I think the other Ralph actually wanted to make the list. Nobody should ever watch.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the Return of the King, so
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
I will be the judge of that when I eventually see it. I'm probably going to when we get to the 70s, I'm going to watch the original animated Lord of the Rings and that back to back. So
Anyway.
Also, just quickly, you haven't put Transformers in the chat thing.
Private chat, yeah.
Yeah.
That was there. I just hadn't pressed into it.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I see it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ryan, what do you have for number 12?
Grave of the Fireflies.
Richie.
Hang on. Daffy Duck.
Chris.
Yeah, Daffy Duck and Fancy the Island.
Jacob.
I've also got Daffy Duck.
I also had Grave of the Fireflies.
Ooh.
But
Ooh. Come at me, people.
I mean, I don't think people are going to be upset about the ending up at 12 because I think a lot of those Looney Tunes movies I think are very underseen just because people are like, oh yeah, there's just a whole bunch of these shorts all put together for a connecting through line. So
Yeah, I like the one where Daffy Duck Bunny go win for award scene a little bit more than this.
Oh, the Louie Buzz Bunny movie.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so many of them came out in the 80s. Like once again, Looney Tunes movies can be a list on their own. Richie, what do you have for 11?
Fox and the
Jacob,
Oh, I forgot that was on the list. Yeah, I'll go Fox and the Hound too.
Hound.
Chris,
Transformers the movie.
Grave of the Fireflies, Ryan.
Still go to the Fireflies.
So Chris, Grave of the Fireflies or Fox and the Hound?
Fox and the Hound.
Thanks.
Fox and the Hound make me cry, but getting the Firefly make me depressed after watching. And me want to hug my sister after watching that one.
But Jacob, what do you have for number 10?
The Brave Little Toaster.
Chris,
Transformers the movie.
I've got Grave of the Fireflies. Ryan,
Still go to the Fireflies.
Richie,
All dogs go to heaven.
it's going to be Grave of the Fireflies.
Yikes.
Oh, yikes. Brian, do watch it when you get a chance.
I don't want to watch a whole depressing movie.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think anyone wants to watch a more depressing movie. But
It's not a matter
I
of
will say,
wanting
like, I
to
do think Grave of the Fireflies is just well made. Maybe if I understood it, I'd be.
That's fair. That's fair.
When you get subtitle on it, it will hit you a lot harder watching it.
I forgot you mentioned that, Malcolm. So I guess your vote
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Especially to start with the dad. It does hit
But Chris, what do you have for 9?
Transformer Robot in Disguise Transformer movie.
I put Secret in him. Brian,
Transformers Robots in Disguise.
Richie,
All dogs go to heaven.
Jacob.
Still the Brave Little Toaster.
It is going to be Transformers the movie.
Oh man, that's a low.
And the fact that Greater Firefly below Transformers, that's still.
It's a low ranking for that movie. I don't know.
I enjoyed Transformers the movie better than Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah. Well, that's because you can understand it. That's
I can't wait to see the comment section.
Hey, I mean, it could be worse. Grave of the Fireflies might not have made the list.
That's true.
I think
I mean,
a lot of
at
people
least-
would say Captain Sky should have made the list.
And let's be honest, at least people who are watching this, they're the only ones that are going to know the actual ranking. Like, they're just going to see the files like, oh, they made the list.
That's true. That's true.
But for 8, I've got Secret in them. Brian,
Brave Little Toaster.
Richie,
Watch Jacob change his vote now. I said Brave Little Toaster.
Jacob,
Brave Little Toaster.
and Chris.
My Neighbor Totoro.
It's going to be the
Watch
Brave
it
Little
up, Chris.
Toaster. It is free on YouTube. But,
I liked Brave Little Toaster.
yeah, that's actually my number 1.
Oh, it is?
No,
It actually was my number 1 when I was
Wow, okay.
But I mean, in saying that could have been my nostalgia talking at the same time, but I don't care. But Brian, what do you have for number 1? 7.
Secret them.
Richie,
All dogs go to heaven.
Jacob,
All dogs go to heaven.
Chris.
My Neighbor Totoro.
I've got Secret in them. So Chris, Secret in them, or All Dogs Go to Heaven at 7.
All dogs go to heaven. I try to keep like the top 5 like some of the best ones. I love All Dogs Go to Heaven, but not better than Secret.
Be honest, you just did it because Heaven was 7.
No, I like All Dogs Go to Heaven, but I don't like Secret anymore.
Chris, I'm just messing with you. Richie, what do you have for 6?
An American Tale.
At 6, I've got The Secret in them. Jacob,
An American Tale.
Chris,
My Neighbor Totoro.
Brian,
Secret Name.
Chris, Secret of Nim or An American Tale.
American Tail.
Wow.
Secret Name are late in my top 3 favorites from this decade. Oh, should I change my vote?
Now we move on to 5. Secret of Nim, Brian,
Secret Name.
Richie,
Land Before Time.
Jacob,
Secret in them.
Chris.
My Neighbor Totoro.
Secret of Nim is going to be number 5.
So far, all the blue films be there.
Oh yeah, we still have there's 2 Studio Ghibli movies still, and yeah.
What's the list if we ask? What's left?
So we've got The Little Mermaid, My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, and Land Before Time. And it's funny because this is kind of the opposite of how the 90s one went. Like 90s list, I think was 6 Disney animated movies. Like,
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean with Disney, it's like it was really Disney top heavy that decade anyway. But Brian, what do you have for 4?
Kiki Delivery Service.
Richie,
Land Before Time.
Jacob,
Land Before Time.
Chris.
My Neighbor Totoro.
I've also got My Neighbor Totoro. So Brian, My Neighbor Totoro or Land Before Time?
Mother Toro.
Yeah, but
There goes my number 1. Well, this is top 4. I'll take it.
Yeah, I think all double films great out each of the row. So
Yeah. I mean, I like Kiki and like My Neighbor Totoro. I rather took one of them out to put Cats in the Sky, but that certainly.
all of it was brought up anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put up Castle of Sky earlier. Yeah,
I thought Brian would do it. He mentioned on his list that Brian.
But I was on my list, Castle of Sky. I never had it.
Richie.
yeah, I didn't change it. Land Before Time.
Right.
That's the same. Kiki Delivery Service. Kept it there.
Chris.
Kiki Delivery Service.
Jacob.
Land Before Time.
Kiki's Delivery Service.
How the hell was that? Anyway, okay. Now it's number 1.
Yeah, my
Yep,
number
now we
one
go
is
straight to number 1.
my number 1 is easy.
What do you mean the only one that hasn't been voted for?
Can I just say it's funny how we have all the John Blues from the 80s on here. Like,
Well, we got the most iconic ones.
I mean, it's because 80s is weird. There's a lot of good Dalton Blues movies.
yeah. And then the 90s happened, and we don't talk about those.
Hey, those movies are just as good.
We'll talk about Anastasia.
Anastasia is good. Five Years Ago West is good. The rest of them are not good.
Don't get me started on the troll in Central Park.
Oh, and
I
I
mean,
like All Gotta Go to Heaven too, but that.
Wait, you do,
I mean,
you
it's
do
just one of those
comments
ones like,
Park?
there's just one of those things like that don't get talked a lot about because Disney's taken over animation a lot from beyond. But Jacob, what do you have for number 1?
Little Mermaid.
Chris.
We get a remake of this year, The Little Mermaid.
Should be Brave Little Toast, but Little Mermaid is the Brian.
Let's see, Little Mermaid.
And Richie.
The Brave Little Mermaid.
That's quite a crossover.
But anyway, just to recap, our top 12 animated movies of the 80s. At 12, we've got Daffy Duck and Fantastic Island. At 11, we've got The Fox and the Hound. At 10, we've got Grave of the Fireflies. At 9, we've got Transformers the movie. At 8, we've got Brave Little Toaster. At 7, we've got All Dogs Go to Heaven. At 6, we've got An American Tail. At 5, we've got The Secret of Nim. At 4, we've got On Abertoto. At 3, we've got Kiki's Delivery Service. At 2, we've got Land Before Time. And at number 1, we've got The Brave Little Mermaid. But with that, that does bring us to the end of another episode of Rankin. Next week, we're doing movies based on comics. So some of these might actually make it on again because some of these, especially Ghibli ones, have all been based on comics, comic strips, or manga. We are excluding the mainstream like Marvel, DC superheroes, but Marvel and DC imprints, stuff like that, like Kingsman, Men in Black, and stuff like that, are eligible. But Brian, where can people find you online?
Sure, you can find me online doing Kingdom Wilson Spaces. I'm competing Full Metal Random on Thursday for Disney Animation. I'm filming a Geek Match with my favorite brand in Auto Geek this Sunday. I'll be on Movie Hero Network tomorrow and Wednesday for the Best of 2015 tournament. I compete in JPO's League, being Richie, and I'm coming for the Bell Quiz for Pixel List if he has it up again. What else? I'm filming a match coming up with on Don't Penguin Network against Tato, which will be a lot of fun. And yep, other spaces, competing most of the cheer spaces there.
Richie, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on here occasionally, and then on I often do tournament fights. I think the next one I'm on is Best Spy Movies, whatever that is, and this is tier ranker sometimes. Also on that channel, I do Lonely Marks with Jacob here and JPO and Austin. We're going to be doing an ECW draft, so that'll be cool. So on Thursday. And then you can catch me doing other wrestling trivia on Combat Wrestling Trivia. I just I just had a match with the non-title match with the champion Paul Mead, and if I won, I got a title shot. Not going to give it away, but maybe the smile will tell you how well it went. Cool. So come on. And then other than that, I'm going to be doing. I'm part of the wrestling trivia tournament over on JPO's channel. I've been filming a match with Michael Turner, our best over 90,500 series.
Fight forever.
We keep getting mashed up together. So from that soon. Got a debate coming out. I'm filming a debate with this guy down here. So watch out for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I do a podcast with my friend Robert Cameron about Tubi movies. This week's episode is going to be the Calamity Jane's Revenge, which is very, it's obviously Western, pretty interesting Western with Al Snow in it. So check that out.
Jacob, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me over at the Movie Hero Network. I also show up on tournament fights and tier ranker. I also, as Richie mentioned, host the Lonely Marks. ECW draft on Thursday. I will be doing very poorly in that, but it should be a lot of fun regardless. And then Saturday, Austin and I will be back with a podcast about movies. We're kind of making this a superhero month with the new Ant-Man movie coming out, and so we'll be counting down our top 10 Marvel movies, so including MCU and just Marvel in general. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm interested to see what his list is, and I'm still interested to see what my list is because I haven't finalized it yet.
Chris, where can people find you online?
You can find me anywhere. You can find me on Dylan Network. You can find me on Full Metal. I got Spider-Man movie Full Metal Random coming up pretty soon. I got Debate with this guy up here coming up pretty soon. They'll be filming it next week, most likely. And then you should find me anywhere. I've in a few matches here and there, getting ready for opening night trivia Geekly. And the Team League right now. They'll be in the knockout tournament there pretty
It's a
soon.
weird suit for me.
Yeah. So I'm here to have fun. You're finding me anywhere. And hopefully Disney trivia start again pretty soon too. So that
wait for it to begin.
Yeah.
And you can find me on Take 3 where I host Rankum and Gone for the Win. And if you haven't already done your nominations for the Gone for the Win awards, make sure you fill out the form that I just reshared on the Take 3 page today. And the nominations will be announced at the end of February, so you've got a bit of time to do it. You can find me over on the Movie Hero Network where I help make brackets. I'll be there for this week for continuation of the latest series for Best Movies of 2015, which will have the 8 movies that moved on from the 2016. Plus, we're also throwing in the 8 movies that won in the 2022 tournament. So there will be a few player matches from those ones, but it's going to be interesting as well to see what happens there with all those in the mix. And you can find me hosting trivia on Formula Random. As Brian mentioned, there's Disney Animator coming up this week, along with the movie release dates match. They're both on Thursday. And yeah, I think that's about it. Basically, you can find me everywhere pretty much. But with that being said, that is end and keep listening shit.
Why, thank you.